I want to take you through an entire roast with the BC3300 LPG. The gas unit's going to work, the natural gas unit's going to work the same. So I'm turning on the gas line. You can't see where I'm turning it on. I'm turning on the regulator about a quarter turn, and I'm going to turn on the unit. Oops, I forgot I got the power turned off. I'm using a converter, so I only have to use 110 power. You get those with all our gas and LPG machines. So I'm turning on the roaster, let it cycle, which is very quick. And now I'm gonna make sure everything's set. Turn your airflow to 20%. You've got to have airflow on these big units to pull air in, so the flame, when it starts up, will be drawn to the drum rather than try to shoot out and then perhaps blow out. So we turn on the gas at the line coming into the unit. We've already tested it for potential leaks. And now we crank on the heating or the igniter and then turn on our fuel. You can hear it flaming up. You want to keep an eye on the meter here, so you stay within about 2 to 4 kPa. You can adjust that either with the gas coming into the unit or to control right here. As you can see, I've got the, I'm preheating it. And I'm going to preheat it up to up to 350. People go between 320 and 370. While it's preheating, I'm going to load the hopper. And this roasts a little over 7 pounds. We've roasted 8 pounds with it. But I'm going to go ahead and just pour 7 pounds of Colombian coffee in here in the hopper. And that way it'll be ready to drop as soon as the temperature reaches its preheat. Some folks like to let the roaster go beyond the preheat, maybe go up to 400 or more, and then let it cool down to 350 or 380 or whatever their preheat temperature is. That way the machine is used to running hotter, so that when you do continuous roast, you get the same basic changes that go on with the drum and the roaster. A lot of people will time their preheat just to get an idea how long it takes the roaster to heat up. These LPG units are, the big ones are about 5, 6, 7 minutes, depending on how fast you go. Right now we're actually going with a kPa of nearly 4, so it's going pretty fast. So we've just been a couple minutes, and the ambient temperature outside is around 75, and here about the same. So we're moving up quite nicely. You can see that the bean temperature is about 277. I'm going to crank this down just a teeny little bit. That'll help it actually heat a little bit faster. And we'll be ready to go here in just a couple minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and just start the timer when I drop the beans. With these units, you want to make sure you turn the drum on. They have a variable speed drum. They have an on-off switch on the side, so you want to make sure you got that drum turning. A lot of people go at about 40 to 50 RPM. So we're going at about 50 RPM right now. You can see this is still a pretty silent roaster. As you can see, my hot air temperature is way above the drum temperature. I want the drum temperature to get up to 350 before I drop the beans. So that'll be another minute or two. I've upped the speed on my airflow so that it's fairly close to the bean temperature. We're right about at 350, so I'm getting ready to drop the beans. 7 pounds Colombian. And you're going to see a huge drop, probably 150 to close to 200 degree drop as those all load up. Make sure you close the hopper as soon as your beans have gone into the drum. And you can see how rapidly the temperature is reducing as the room temperature beans at about 75 degrees Fahrenheit fall down into the drum. Keep in mind the beans are not getting colder, which you never want to have happen. It's just the drum is cooling off because of the cool mass that's just entered it. But it'll bottom out probably about 150 or a little bit higher, maybe a little lower, depending on the ambient temperature. And then it'll start its climb. I should have started the timer, which was my mistake. So we could actually add about 45 seconds on there. But you're going to see it drop down probably close to about 150. And this usually bottoms out within about 2 minutes, then begins to start its climb. And you can adjust the airflow. Most people keep the airflow down to 20 or so while the drop is going, and they may up it a little bit as it gets into that climb. You can always look through the window to view your flame. You definitely want to watch your KPA or your meter. I try to keep it between 2 and 4 on this machine. You can see it bottomed out in the low 160s. Now it's climbing pretty rapidly. And I may not want it to climb quite that rapidly. You do want a pretty quick rise, but you don't want it to be so fast that you risk burning the outer part of the bean. So I'm going to drop down the KPA to about 3. And I'm going to adjust the airflow up to about 30% to give you a little wider angle. Okay, hopefully you can see the KPAs at about 3. We're getting a nice climb. The airflow is quite a bit hotter than the drum, which is to be expected at this point. We have about a 30% airflow going to the drum. Taking into consideration that I didn't start the timer for about 45 seconds, we're a little over 4 minutes into the roast. We're up to about 255 degrees on the bean temperature, 316 on the air. And that's pretty good. We want to climb at a pretty steady pace. I'd like to get it back up to 350, my preheat point, maybe within 7 or 8 minutes. I'd like to keep this roast under 15. So keeping in mind that I forgot to start the timer, we're at probably close to 6.5 minutes, and we're ready to hit about 300 degrees. We're at 3 kPa, the airflow's at about 35%, and everything's going about on schedule for what I wanted. So we're about 8 minutes into the roast and at about 320, 325. At this point, I may up my KPA just a little bit, 3.5, and I might even up the airflow to 40%. Somewhere about 340 and up is when you want to up the airflow even more, and we're getting close to that. But the timing's going good. As you can see, the airflow is hotter than the beans, which is to be expected. But everything's going on target. We're up to about 340 at about 9.5 minutes. And as you can see, the beans are turning from yellow to a very light brown. I don't know if you can see it there. But all's going on target, looking good. I've got the airflow to about, turn it up to about 50%. I still got the KPA at about 3.5. We're about 10 minutes. I'd like to get this done in about the next 5 minutes, but I'm not rushing it. A light brown. Bean temperature is at 350. We'll probably hear first crack about 380 to 400. We're at 10 minutes 45 seconds at about 360 degrees. Airflow is at about close to 390. We've got a 50% airflow going on, still at about 3.5 kPa. This is going right on target. Let's take a look at our beans. A very light brown still, a little bit darker shade than they were. It's looking good. We can expect first crack probably within 1 to 2 minutes. So we're at about 12 minutes. We're at 376 degrees, and I'm starting to hear first crack. And it's about 400 degrees in the air temperature. Very, very light color on the beans. We're going to go to a full city, maybe a full city plus on this, since people tend to like Colombian a little darker. We're at 385 at about 12 minutes 45 seconds. If you listen closely, you'll hear that we're starting to go into a full crack here, a first crack. It's not an extremely loud crack, but it's kind of a snap, crackle, pop. I'm upping the airflow to 60%. The drum temperature is 415 degrees. The bean temperature, 395. Let's take a look at our beans. This is the critical point from first crack on where you really got to keep a close eye on things. Not that the climb is not important, because it is, but at this point, every 15 to 30 seconds can make a huge difference. We're at 14 minutes, 402 degrees, drum temperature 420. Beans are at a fairly light roast. At this point on, extreme light roasting people might want to pull the beans, but not with Colombia, not with me. It's going to go on a little bit longer, probably another 2 to 3 minutes. We're at 15 minutes, 413 degrees, drum temperature 430. It's proceeding quite nicely. We're getting close to a city roast. We want to go probably full city plus on this. It's a pretty mellow first crack. Wasn't real loud. We got a little bit of what seems to be a lull here. But it's looking really good. $423 degrees on the bean, 438 on the drum, 15 minutes 45 seconds. KPA 3.5 still. Our airflow is about 60%. We're getting close to where I like to drop it. Probably within the next 30 seconds. So I'm going to turn on my cooling. We're heading toward 440 degrees. We're at 440 at 16.45. I'm about ready to drop it. Very nice looking full city. And these cooling trays really cool the beans in about 2 to 3 minutes max. At this point, I'm letting my roaster cool down, but I'm ready to close it up because it's about ready to go to 350 and I would drop my second roast. So within about a minute of dropping my beans, I'm ready to drop my second roast. It's now at 350, so if I was continuing on, I'd drop my second roast and begin the climb again. So a nice looking beans. I don't know how well you can see them. It's a full city plus. I think it's going to make a nice cup. All right, these beans are ready to go. Nice looking roast there. And if you can see the cooling tray, it's got every last bean out of there. As you can tell, the temperature's dropping really rapidly now. I've opened up the drum, I've opened up the hopper, I've got the cooling fan on at 100%, so that it really drops the temperature fast. So I like to bring the temperature down quite a bit before I shut off the unit for the day. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gives you some kind of idea how simple it is to roast with the BC roasters, and really all our roasters, because they're all artisan roasters that use the same methods. Thank you.